Well, I am here with Sheridan and I am extremely excited and I want to welcome you to Profitable Pursuits. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl. I'm excited to talk about money and making profit. Like, isn't that the
Uh,
best,
It
most
is
empowering thing?
for sure because that's what it takes that so you can live life on your terms and whatever that means to you. That's why I'm so obsessed about it. But before we jump into the strategy and the fun, can you give us a rundown of who you are in case our audience isn't familiar, what you do, all the you have an amazing Instagram, so just give us the rundown.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Sheridan. So I am trained as a trauma therapist, a yoga therapist, and Ayurvedic wellness coach. Uh, but I basically have a lot of experience working with people with their nervous system so that they can have more ease and pleasure inside and kind of streamline all the things that they want to do in life to get what they want done. And I have my own experience of mental health difficulties and trauma. And I lost my hair when I was 7 years old. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD. I have some really difficult stuff that has happened in my life. And the place where I've taken it lately is that, I started my own healing business online and in person. And I had to learn how to navigate my own experience with trauma and my dysregulated nervous system in order to create profit. And a large part of what I do now is helping other people do exactly that, take all of the inner ickiness and sometimes chaos that can happen inside, give it a little bit of order and focus on the things that will get you towards profit.
I love that. How long have you been in business for?
I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years in different
Oh,
ways.
yeah.
I've been in this like online business since COVID pushed me online. Yeah.
Cool. And I love that you are still here. We're starting to get to the point where businesses are starting to get pushed out because they didn't make it financially. Like there was the upswing of COVID and okay, we can do this. But now I feel like we're starting to see that mass exodus. So I love that you are still here doing the thing and showing up for your clients. A big part of being able to give your message and create these transformations is really enhancing visibility so people know about you. Can you give some tips and tricks on how you ensure that your message can get out into the world and people can find you?
Yeah, I truly believe that visibility for a nervous system that feels safe being visible becomes so easy because if you feel really safe being visible and you're doing something that you truly believe in and love, it just happens so organically. You talk about it because you like talking about it. You offer your expertise and services because you truly believe in it. You get excited to post something on Instagram, not because you're looking to get likes or get some type of approval or some type of proof of something, just because you think like you have that energy inside of you that's like, I have to get this out. And so for me, visibility really I can see times when it feels difficult or when for my clients it feels difficult. It always points to something that's happening inside that's telling the body that it's unsafe to be seen having that opinion, or it's unsafe to be seen in general, or it's unsafe if your friends, families, co-workers see this side of you. It's such a vulnerable thing to be visible, but vulnerability is safe. However, a lot of what we learn along the way in life as we grow and experience all of the ups and downs is that vulnerability isn't safe. So I think that visibility for me really begins with making being seen, being vulnerable, and being opinionated and being big in that opinion um, to be safe. Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. I love that we get to speak with so many different entrepreneurs, and I always throw out some of the same questions, just to hear different advantage points. Because let's be honest, if you want a profitable business, you have to make clients, and in order, or you have to service clients or sell to them something. And in order to do that, they have to know about you. So I love to hear how people recommend that visibility piece so you can be found
Yeah,
and heard?
it's a really good question.
For sure. I appreciate your answer. It's not one we've heard before, that whole you have to feel safe and then it makes it feel easier. Do you have some tips to help people like feel safe if they were just entering your world? What would you like advise?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is I would have to understand, we have to understand like on a level of 1 to 10, how safe does it feel? And if it doesn't feel super safe, why? And the nervous system can kind of go, it can go a couple of different ways, but it can go into a place where we overdo, over plan, or get really defensive, kind of that fight or flight response. So it's like if you're sitting there and you're perfectly planning your content, but you're not getting it out, then I would see that and say, okay, you have this coping mechanism of planning so that you can feel productive, but you're not doing the thing that actually matters. And so we would have to say, why? Why does it feel more safe to plan than to execute? And then if we have the version of you where you're just angry on the internet, or you're like, I'm being visible, but I'm kind of this like defensive or anger type of energy of this is how it should be. It's not actually serving your clients. We all have seen that, right? Where people are just kind of saying things, but it's not coming into how do I actually serve the people that I want to serve in my business. It's rather just like a pedestal for frustration and anger. I would kind of be curious and say, well, why do you think that what's happening inside of your body that's telling you that you need to go to this stress response of frustration towards, like, why is that a safe way to express yourself? What has happened in your life that has told you that that's the best way to express yourself? And then we have the other one, and this is super common, which is like, I just don't do anything. I just procrastinate and I just feel heavy and I just don't do anything. And this is when we go into this hypo arousal and almost this immobilized freeze or shut down. And we just stay stuck or stagnant. And we're thinking about things a lot, but we're not doing anything. And then I would get curious about why that feels. But at the end of the day, there's an element of there's probably some day-to-day stuff that's happening, but there's also something that's happened in your past that has entered into your nervous system and said, this isn't safe. And we can go in and we can do inner child work around that, or we can just do mindfulness exercises on making it safe, or we can go through and do a full energetic embodiment trauma release practice around it. It depends on the individual what's going to be most supportive for their body, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's where I would get curious first and be like, well, what's going on here? And from here, let's move forward.
Yeah. So if I gathered all that correctly and like was to sum it with a little bow, like you just really have to come to the root cause of why you don't feel comfortable, safe, showing up. And once we
Yeah.
can move past that, that's when it will enhance your visibility. It'll enhance you taking the actual action that will move you forward. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that one thing maybe I didn't articulate well enough that I would add is we have to understand the root cause, but we also have to be conscious about making effort and getting out and being seen, and then giving the feedback to the body. Oh, hey, look, I literally went and said something vulnerable, or I spoke to that person that was vulnerable, or I did the thing that I was worried about, and everything is okay. And I'm going to ground, and it's okay. And what used to happen maybe isn't going to happen anymore. Or maybe they did say something and somebody commented and didn't agree with me, and I'm okay. It's okay for us to have different opinions. So there's this understanding the root cause, but also taking action and then reminding the body and integrating that it is safe to take action, and just doing that dance of inward, external, inward,
Yeah,
external, inward, external.
makes sense. It's more like reassurance in those action steps, like, hey, it's okay, right? And like just keep doing it. Repetition really creates the
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah. And
love
it has to be from you, though, not reassurance from external people or environments.
Interesting. So cool. I'd love to like hear, obviously coming from a financial background in a strategy and spreadsheet geek, we're so like in the numbers. It's fun to hear like this external, a different way to look at things rather than just so like data analytical, more the feeling side, which we probably don't do enough over here in the finance.
But I feel
Let's,
like you would see it. Like
yeah,
you would see people have different, you would probably be able to identify kind of their stress response. Like when you have people who are like people who completely avoid their finances, that's probably more of that freeze space. Like I just don't even know, right? Like no, and they have a different attachment to that. If you look at attachment style, it might be avoidant attachment. Then you have people who have like the perfectly planned spreadsheet, and they're like messaging you in like 6 weeks before they need to message you about taxes, and they're like, I've got this planned, and you can see that response. And then you probably have people who, if you say something like, oh hey, this is in this place, and like that's not totally right, they're super defensive about it. And so you probably would also see the
for sure.
different response, the nervous system responses.
1,001%, like as you say it, like I'm identifying clients or students that we've worked with, and people have different ways of handling coping or moving forward or not moving forward with their finances for sure. It's all like
Yeah.
intertwined. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's do a little bit of a spin and let's talk some business strategy. I love strategy and to geek out, and I think that's why a lot of people are here tuning in. If you could you share some like I like to call it like the mind-blowing tip that really you would catapult the reason why you have the business you have today, like whatever that is for you. Like is there like a certain thing like because I do X, Y, and Z, or because of this, I have this amazing business that I'm super proud of.
Yeah, you guys are gonna feel really bad saying this. I'm gonna give two answers because one is
Yeah.
like super in the feelings and a little bit, it's like a bit fluffy, and I don't like giving fluffy advice. So I'm gonna give fluffy, and then I'm gonna give real. Um, the fluffy advice is embodied recognition. So feeling in your body and really recognizing what you are an expert in and what you are not an expert in. And just being able to differentiate and say, I can fully 100% see myself as an expert in this specific field, and allowing yourself to feel comfortable saying, claiming that space. And when you claim that space, you agree that you're not claiming other spaces, but you're saying, and it's not about like picking the perfect niche, or it's not about that. It's like, what are you truly very, very, very good at? And can you really acknowledge and feel that in your body? If I'm honest, most of my success came when I consistently started feeling in my body, I am really good at this specific thing. And every day reminding myself and saying, Sheridan, you are really good at this specific thing. Because that way, when somebody comes to you, you can identify, am I truly the best person to help them? Or would they be better off with somebody else? And when you're truly the best person to help them, they can feel that confidence inside of you. They're ready to work with you. And they also trust you because they know that you're not using them for some type of weird validation that you need, that you're a professional, or like, we get kind of
Yeah.
sticky sometimes when we're not clear about what we're good at and what other people are better at than us. Not in a hierarchy way, but just reality, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Um,
actually really like that one.
yeah. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think you need to own like where your skills are, and I think you need to recognize where someone could be better at something. And for instance, outsource. Example, our team just outsourced Google Ads. We were going to try to figure it out, do it. Sure, we could spend 1,000 hours learning it, but like we're not the experts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And like really, really owning what you are an expert in and going and doing that every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
amen. I like that.
So that's like the more of the body-based one. The other one I think is showing up every day and saying, how can I show up every day? Where can I be? Like, how can I serve people today? And what excites me to do that. Some people are really excited about making YouTube videos. Okay, cool, wonderful, go and do that. Some people are more excited about being on Instagram or TikTok and going viral. It really doesn't matter. Just pick one and go. And every single day that you sit down to work, say, how can I serve somebody on this platform or through this way every single day? And how can I sell to them?
Yeah. I think it all once again comes back to that like visibility and tying it in with your first tip, like being visible and owning like who and what you can do to make that transformation for
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think it comes with like an underlying, you have to feel comfortable selling. Otherwise, you're not actually going to make money. So there's that. That's really important. And you
Yeah.
have to connect with people to sell to.
Yeah. You have to be able to sell, right? It's a business. It needs money. In order to be
Yeah.
profitable, it has to start with revenue. It's got to come in
Yes.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's a fun one that I like to throw at people. If you were to get to where you are today in your business in half the amount of time, what would you do?
A whole lot more inner work than I did. I would, because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out my website and my emails. I spent so much time doing that. Honestly, I would have just cut half of that in half and just said, okay, what resistance do I have to selling? What resistance do I have to being visible? How can I make this as simple as possible? What resistance do I have to making this as simple as possible? And just get out there and serve and sell to just serve people, to be honest. I think I spent a lot of time doing procrastinating busy work and worrying about branding and worrying about if my messaging was correct and all of this stuff, because it was just such an inconvenient way to avoid the discomfort my body had with being visible and selling to people and accepting money in exchange for my services. And once I dealt with the fact that I am good at what I do, I'm not going to die if I speak about things on the internet. Um, and all of my like silly little insecurities and lack of safety that I had and like ancestral stuff about money that my nervous system thought it was better to be poor than to have money. And I had to work through a lot of stuff.
Um,
I would have just gone and done all of that and made it safe for my body to receive money, to spend money, and to have an opinion about things. And I would have saved so much time and energy.
I love that. I think so many people want to complicate things or make it harder than it has to be, or like in like every aspect of business, like simplify to multiply, just like simplify.
Yeah. And it's relationships as well. So I get that because if we have stickiness with other people, like if I feel really sticky with vulnerability towards another person, or I'm worried that they're going to judge me, I would just go and sort through all of that stuff that I had around fears and insecurities and triggers around people and just sell to people. Yeah.
Yeah. I am obsessed with the internet. I think it gives opportunity to meet cool people, to have these experiences, and it also gives you a chance to be inspired by what others are doing. Um, so with that, I want to ask, like, what are some of like your big goals that you're comfortable sharing? I love to end on this note. That way we can hopefully inspire and encourage other people to like go big and like do those big scary things.
Yeah. I'm doing two things. One is just I'm super excited,
Oh
so I'll share
no.
both if that's okay.
Say it again because it just froze for a second.
I'm doing two things at the moment. One is just I'm so excited about it, and
Ah,
the other one is actually really big. So can I share both?
please do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would appreciate it.
Later this year, when my body tells me it's time, we're still waiting when, I'm releasing a 4-week program on releasing shame through the body so that people can become more visible, so that people can have deeper connections with any type of relationship they're in, including like romantic to client relationships. And I'm just very, very excited to be talking about shame and helping people move through it. So that's number
Yes.
one. That's coming up.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And what's your
It's
other
really
one?
good. I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Way
I'm
to
writing a
go.
book. It's on kind of body-based living, like living without anxiety, and it's really pulling on Ayurveda, the science of life from the Vedas in India, and polyvagal theory, which is nervous system theory, and somatic intelligence, and how to apply that to love and money. And I'm really, really excited for that. And that's like the big thing, right? Writing a book is a big thing. Yeah.
That's huge. Thank you so much for sharing that with all of us. That's so cool. I love to cheer people on as they're working towards those next big wins. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to hang out with us today. I really truly appreciate it. Where can people follow along? Where can they continue to learn more about you and receive your experience and expertise?
Yeah, I think easiest place is probably on Instagram. It's underscore Sheridan Ruth underscore. You can also find me on my website. Just go to my website. It links to everything, which is www.sheridanruth.com.
Perfect. And we will have all the links down below so people can follow along. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it was great to meet you. We will send you an email and some marketing with the date that everything goes live, and we will broadcast it to our audience across all platforms.
Yeah, do you happen to know the date just so that I can be aware or not really?
I don't have it in front of me. We're probably looking August.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Oh, good.
But like
Yeah,
I said, we
perfect.
will email it all out a couple weeks in
And I can
advance
share
and some of those reminders. Awesome.
it. Amazing.
Cool.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for sharing.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.